Okay, Gilbert Bodin, April 9th, 1929. Orion. Well, I wasn't born in town. I was born right out on the farm.
Okay.
And the neighbor set fire to his stubble field to burn it so he could seed it in the spring.
Yep.
And that fire got away on him, and he had 3 horses on one bottom plow. And that fire was coming from the northwest, and that was headed right for our place. And he got excited, so he drove over there as fast as he could, and he made three rounds, with that plow, past that place. Made a moon on it, like. It went right around the place and went on.
Wow.
Saved me anyway, or I wouldn't be here today.
And so that's when you were a baby, and
Yep.
your mom had just given birth on the farm?
Well, I had a, what do you call them? An older lady come in there all the time and help with babies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like a.
Yeah, there's a name on it.
Yeah.
I forget what it is. But anyway, she was there, this old lady, and her name was Mrs. Eklund. Norwegian lady. Yeah.
And so, how did you fit in with your brothers and sisters? Where were you? Were you the first or youngest, or where were you?
No, I was a third.
Okay.
I had a sister and a brother and then me and then my younger sister.
What are some of your earliest memories on the farm and with your brothers and sisters?
Well, we walked to school 1.5 miles every day, and it was uphill both ways. And that's a fact.
Sure.
Yeah, because there was a coulee went through there at one place we had to cross. So we went down and up. See, I was going uphill both ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I explain it.
Sure. A lot of work to do on the farm. You,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
as all farms, the kids had to really carry their weight, I would imagine.
yeah, we all had to do our share, yeah. Milk cows, clean barn. No, I had to even get the horses in the morning at 7 o'clock. You have to go 1 mile south and bring them home and help harness them up and hook them up before I went to school. So I was always late at school. 9 o'clock I got there. I was supposed to be there ahead of time. But I never got heck for that. See,
What sorts of other jobs and chores did you have to do on the farm, and did you enjoy that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I fed cows out here till I was what? I retired 3 times.
Yeah.
How the hell was that now?
All right.
The first time we moved in here, and I brought my cows with me every year, kept them out there in the community pasture.
Yeah.
And then I fed them up here on the hill by number 3 until it's not too long ago since I sold them back to him.
In the 90s now?
I had 7 left, and I said to him, give me $1,000 a piece for them cows and I'm out of the business.
So back to your childhood, what are some of the fun memories that you had with your siblings? What did you do for enjoyment aside from working?
It was mostly working. There wasn't too much playing, but I know one time I made a push cart out of wheels, cast iron wheels off an old drill. I made it myself, and I got it all made, and then my dad looked at it and he said, damn it, he said, when you make something, he said, make it good, don't make it half-assed. That's what he showed me.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me through my jobs and everything.
Mm-hmm. So with your siblings, were they pretty well behaved, or were any of them troublemakers, or what are some of the what are some of the qualities that they might have had that made growing up with them enjoyable?
Well, we went to school sometimes, and then we had a badlands there, about 3 miles south of the school. So we'd sneak out there, sneak over there, and sit around the badlands until the time to go back to school, and then we went back to school. But how the heck was that now? Yeah, my brother one time, he went from the school home, and we didn't walk together, He walked with bigger boys, and so anyway, he got home with these damn skunks. He had a lunch bucket, and he put 4 skunks in there, baby skunks. I don't know where he found them, and put them in our barn. And then he shut the door so they couldn't get out. And my daddy went down to the barn to do something, and here's 4 skunks. But he had it figured out pretty good. He figured it was Wally. So he went back to the house and asked him, he said, "Where hell did you get them skunks?" He said, "In the barn there, Well, he had to admit it, then he had them. So he found the den, I don't know where it was. So I think they killed the skunks, and that was the end of that.
Nobody got sprayed?
Oh no, not them baby ones.
No.
No, they have to be so big before they can do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Tell me about your mother. What was she like?
Oh, pleasant old lady. Yeah. Well, she wasn't old to start with, but she was good.
Good.
Yeah.
What did she cook that you really enjoyed?
Pretty well everything. I eat everything she cooked. And the oatmeal, I had to have that. I still have it today. Every morning I go down and have my oatmeal.
Uh-huh.
That's a habit.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the fish you like?
The which?
Fish.
Fish? I don't know what kind of fish they have. They say it's fish, but today they had rainbow trout.
Yeah, but your favorite is lutefish.
I didn't have fish, so I had veal cutlet.
Okay. How about your grandparents? Did you know them?
Just the one that was in the States.
Okay.
The ones in the old country, I didn't know them.
Okay. The old country being where?
Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah, I had grandparents there.
Okay. And so...
and my dad there were 4 in his family. I think it was 3 girls and him. And I don't know what time he left over there and come over here to the States. I can't say when that was, but
Mm-hmm.
he was born, I think, in 1889.
Okay. And what was your relationship with him like?
Well, not too bad.
Did you go see him quite a bit, or did he come to Canada at all?
Oh, yeah, he came to Canada, and then he went and worked for my grandparents in the States. And that's where he met my mother, and he eventually married her, and then he come up here to Canada.
Okay.
Were
you ever taught Swedish, or how did he communicate?
Yeah, not with my folks, but I was taught it a little bit from that guy I worked with one time. His folks were Swedes, and that old lady would talk Swede to me all the time. And by fall, I could talk it. Through the year I worked there.
Mm-hmm.
But after I went home and the winter went, and I forgot it all.
Do you remember any of it? Any of the language at all?
No, not anymore, no.
Are you proud of your Swedish heritage?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I don't know. I think it's a good thing to be.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of Norwegians in, when I grew up.
Yes.
And they always thought they were better than the Swedes. That's how it went.
So now, when you hear of the Swedish hockey team or anything, do you kind of find yourself cheering for them just a little bit?
Well, I don't watch too much hockey, but I watch it like sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell you one thing I didn't like, but I had to eat it anyway, was lunch with lard on it instead of butter in the older days.
Lard sandwiches.
Yeah, I mean, it was greasy, but I still remember that.
What about beef tongue?
No oxtail. That I love that. I used to make soup out of that myself. No
Yeah.
tongue. That's not the best.
No. What were some of the other challenges? Any weather-related drought issues or anything else like that that really gave your dad a difficult time on the farm?
When the heck was that? 1938. We had a 3-day snowstorm in the last 3 days of March. And 20-foot drifts. We had a big red barn, and all the cows were in the barn. He put them in the night before when the storm started, and they put the yearlings in the shed, the lean-to. So there's 35, I think, yearlings and about the same cows. And we got in the house, and that storm started. You never got out of there for 3 days. My dad went out the door once, but he come right back in. He said, "There's no way I can make it to the barn," because you couldn't see in front of your face. Just blew so bad. Anyway, 4 days later, we went out in the morning and opened that barn door, and you never saw something like it in your life. All them cows were just a bellering. It was like a fog come out of there. It was hot in there from the heat of the cattle. And they were starving, had nothing to eat. Couldn't get out to feed them.
How far away was the barn from the house?
Oh, it was a ways. It was too far, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I don't know if I can explain it here or not. Well, it's
A few-
further
a few-
than that end of that house there.
Yes.
It's further than that.
So a few hundred yards easily.
Oh, yeah, it was quite a ways.
Yeah.
Because in order to get to the barn, you needed something to hang on to, a wire or rope or something.
Yep. Yep. So once the weather cleared up, though, the kids probably had fun sledding and doing some winter activities.
Yeah. You could have put a plank across from that shed to the snowbank
Yep.
and walked across there. It was 20-foot drifts by the barn.
20 feet high.
20 feet high.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
We don't hear things like that now. That type of snowstorm is unheard of.
Yeah, it don't seem to be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I plowed snow after that when I got my job there. I did a lot of that.
Okay.
For years. And there was snow then.
Yes.
Lots of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to your teenage years. Well, let's continue on with your education a little bit. What's the highest grade that you achieved?
8.
Okay.
And the rest I got out for behind the barn.
Right. So who made the decision that the grade 8 education was going to be enough?
Me.
Okay.
When I was 16, I had my mind made up. When I'm 16, I quit.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to work for the farmers and one thing and another till I found what I wanted to do, and that was it.
Yeah. Was there what were some of the things, if we were to ask the teenage version of Gilbert what you wanted to do with your life as a career? What were some of your aspirations as a young man?
I bought a book of Wilf Carter's. It was about that thick.
Yeah.
And I had in my mind I was going to get a guitar and sing them songs. But that's all I ever got was the book because I had no money to buy the guitar. So that was that.
So you never did get the guitar?
No. But now I dance to that music to beat heck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Where did you go to school?
Barbie school.
Okay. One room school, or how would you describe it?
One room, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty big school. They had dances and Christmas concerts and everything like that. There.
Did you have a favorite teacher that treated you particularly well?
Yeah. Miss McDonald. That was first grades I was in, I think. Well, there's about 3-4 of us boys about the same age. We all just loved that lady. We'd all be hugging her, I still remember that. But she was nice to us, too.
Well, she didn't give you
But
trouble.
I had one that I just hated her guts.
And who was that?
Miss Gowrie.
She just sounds evil.
She was.
Why is that? She was a
Well, I guess
disciplinarian, I would imagine.
It's like this. It was a little bit my fault, too. I was a little smart aleck, too. But anyway, I was sitting in the desk here, and my friend was sitting behind me. And I turned around and talked to him, you know. Well, she caught me a few times. And that'll be a page of arithmetic tonight, she said. And I didn't say nothing. I just sat there and worried about that page of arithmetic. A little while later, I turned around again. I was talking to Seb, and she caught me again. That'll be 2 pages of arithmetic, she said, tonight after school. I said, why don't you make it 3? Okay, have it your way, she said. We'll make it 3. And before that, before we ever got to the arithmetic, I got the worst whipping you ever saw. She took me out in the cloakroom, and, you know, I was a pretty smart guy. When you hold your hand there, you know, well, it wasn't there when she hit. So she grabbed it one time and hanging on to it, and I even got away from that. So she got mad that one time she hit her leg like that, you know, and she had pretty plump legs. Boy, did her face turn red. And she just was going to clobber me good. So she hit me in the head and every darn place. Back all over. Ran out in the cloakroom and beat the hell right out of me. So anyway, when that was over, I went back and sat down, and boy, I was mad at her then. But it didn't do any good.
Wow.
So then school was out, she let the kids out, and I sat there. I never got up. I just sat there. Quite a while, and she was at her desk, and I said, where's them 3 pages of arithmetic? She said, you get the hell out of here and don't come back. But I was back the next morning.
She doesn't sound like a very loving educator, does she?
She wasn't, no. Well, I could have got her in trouble because 2 weeks later, my neighbor, he was a friend of mine, he looked at my back, took my shirt off. I had strips like that from that strap, black yet, you know, from her hitting me.
How did your parents allow that? Or was that just a different time when your parents felt that teacher had a right? Or like how do you reconcile that?
I told them when I got home, but they never did nothing. They never beat me up. It just went on and on like that. Mm-hmm. But I know the neighbor, when he looked at me, he said, you could report her. I said, to hell with her. I ain't going to report her. Because I'd kind of asked for it in a way. You know. Well, it happened at the Eagles on 2nd Street here in Newhat. When I was about in 49. How old would I have been then?
You were born in 29, so you would have been 20, is that right?
Oh no, I wasn't 20 yet.
No,
I got married when I was 21. She was 20. No, that's where I met her at a dance. And this Sev guy that I was telling you about, that was a friend of mine, and he was with me too. So he had her sister, and I had Ivy, like. Mm-hmm. And then the dance was over, so I said, well, now I can take you home in my new car, I told her. It wasn't new to me.
Right.
It was a 32 Model B Ford.
Beautiful. And what was it about her that really captured your interest?
Oh, her ways and her looks. She was beautiful. There's a picture of her up there. You know?
That's her?
Yeah, that's the one of the funeral ones.
Can you hold that up?
And that's us behind there, see?
Oh, there you go. There's the wedding.
Okay, let's take a
And
look.
she was 4'8" and I was 6'2". Whoop. I mean,
That's your wedding picture right there.
yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the memorable dates that you went on prior to getting married?
Oh, we went with that truck driver that I was working for to Brooks one time and took in everything up there. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But in them days there was more work than you went enjoying yourself,
Sure.
you know.
What did her parents think of you off the start? Were they kind of suspicious of you, or did you get along with them very well?
No, well, her mom died at 50 years old.
Okay.
I didn't hardly get to know her, you know. I only seen her once, and then I went home, and when I went back and visited her again, she said, Mom passed away. We had the funeral the other day. But her dad, oh, he was too bad to get along with. He drank quite a bit, though.
Mm-hmm.
But he was all right. And then they had 2 boys and these 2 girls. And the one boy was, 19 when he drowned it?
18.
In 61 he drowned it. Crossing the river, him and a bunch of other boys swam across. They were going to swim back, but he didn't make it.
The South Saskatchewan River?
Yep.
In Medicine Hat?
In Medicine Hat, yeah.
Wow.
1961. That's when that was. And the other brother had a heart condition. They figured he wouldn't make it to 16, but he made it to 33.
Mm-hmm.
He got married and he had 3 kids? Yeah.
Okay, so when you decided that Ivy was the one for you, tell me about how you proposed and how you afforded that ring.
Oh, I afforded that. Still got it.
Okay.
I don't know how I afforded that. Work to save my money, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Working, but it wasn't wages you got them days. 2.5 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all you got.
You're saving for quite some time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked at the glass factory, I think it was 2.5 an hour, and then I went to brickyard. It wasn't much better till I got out in Etsicum and the county. There it was better.
Yep. And so you decided she's the one.
Well, she was the one, yeah.
Where did you propose?
Oh, God, don't remember that.
Or did she propose?
No, I did.
Okay.
Oh, I suppose in my Model B Ford.
Did you ask her dad?
No. No, I
Oh,
never
that's
asked
controversial back in the day, wasn't it?
him. Well, no, I never asked him. Oh, he thought I wasn't too bad a guy, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
And so, a few months later, the big day.
Yeah.
Where did that occur?
And the Lutheran church down there in Lawrence Avenue.
Okay.
Not in the church, just out on that step
Okay.
that you saw in that picture.
Yep.
That's the step on the outside the church. We didn't even go in the church. We got married right there.
Great. And guests came from where?
It was just me and her and my brother and her sister. Just
Very
the 4
small.
of us when we got married. There was no big do. No.
Why
And
so
I
small?
didn't even get a honeymoon out of it.
Not even a honeymoon.
I asked them guys at the brickyard if I could get a week or 2 off. No way you're going to come to work. And that was it. No, I never got nothing. That's the way it was.
But you had the girl that you loved, and so that was the main thing.
Yeah, it was all right, yeah.
Okay. But why such a small wedding though? Why wouldn't you invite your friends and family and
Money, 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 money.
but
It takes money to do that.
But the way it is now, you would get lots of gifts, and hopefully in the end it would even out a little bit. But
No, we never got no gifts, no nothing. No, there was no party like that at all. I know old Reader, he was over at Wally's place when we got married, and we went down there. He played accordion, that old fella. So he played us a few tunes, and then we buggered off, and that's about all it was.
so your very first house, with your wife. Where did you live, and what was that first?
We
your first step?
rented all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, the first house I had was out at the farm. Moved it out from that.
Mm-hmm.
Beaver Lumber.
Wow.
Built a new house and moved it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Still there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how long before the babies started to arrive?
The first 4, 2 years apart.
But the first one.
Brenda was the first one. And Bim was the second one. We call him Bim because he had the chocolate on his face, you know, Bimbo.
Yeah.
And he was 2 years after Brenda. But then we moved into Etsicum. I lived there then,
Mm-hmm.
renting a pool house or a elevator house, working for the government there, like.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were there, we had all 4 of you. You were born there too.
Mm-hmm.
Last one. And we moved out. When my dad died, I had to move down to the farm. Then I didn't know what the heck I should do, but they needed a bus driver down there, a bus and a driver. So I went to Lethbridge and bought a bus and got my license and drove that for 5 years myself. And the 6th year I hired a guy. And after that I sold it and went back to the grader.
Okay.
Yeah. And worked there for the rest. And on the farm. I done my farming on Saturday and Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
mostly.
So by the end of it all, 8 kids.
Yeah.
Was that a surprise having that many, or I mean, all families were fairly big back in those days, right? Or was that a large family?
No, it wasn't a really large. Some of them had 13, 14 kids. No, that was just right.
Yeah.
Because they all had their jobs, you know. Some
Yep.
had to pack the coal in from the coal shed, and the other ones the wood, and some had to go pick the eggs, milk cows,
Yep.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Was there any of the kids that weren't very motivated, and you had to really motivate them?
Well, Brenda couldn't motivate her into milking a cow. She never did, and never will.
She got kicked in the stomach once, but she did try once.
She got sick,
She got kicked in the stomach.
kicked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've been kicked lots of times, but I didn't quit. I don't know. I come into the house and we had the news on, and we heard it. It was a shock. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Oswald, I think, was the guy that done it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back a bit further, World War II. Did you have any uncles or anybody that you knew that went to fight?
My brother, he was in the war.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened to him?
Well, he lived he come back when it was over, but he got hurt a couple of times
Mm-hmm.
over there. And he died in 91.
Do you recall where he went? Probably to France.
Well, it was over where all that crazy fight, Holland and in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Italy. You would think he was in there too.
You were a bit younger than him, though, right?
I just missed it.
Just missed it.
When the war was over, I was 17. Just next birthday I'd have had to go.
Yeah. How about Hitler? Do you remember the news reports of him?
Yeah, I remember all that, yeah.
And what, were you scared of him, or what was the thought?
I mean, at that age you weren't really scared, but you didn't think much of him anyway, I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he slaughtered a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Were you ever involved politically? Was that ever something important to you?
No, I never got involved in politics. No.
Did you vote in every election, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any politicians that you did respect a lot?
Well, I'm a conservative, and I'll stay that way.
So Diefenbaker probably.
Yeah, he was a good man.
Yep.
Yeah, he was.
Good.
That's right.
Good.
Klein was another one.
That's right.
He done a good job of cleaning the house when he got in there.
Okay, so 8 kids. Your life is moving on and progressing. At that point, let's talk a little bit about the kids and some of the things that you are really proud of, some of their accomplishments that really stand out that you're proud of to this day.
Well, I don't know. The 2 girls went to school in the Hat and got grade 12, didn't you? That's something to be proud of. But Bim, the boy, the oldest boy, he was a little problem. He went to school in the Hat too. But he went with this other boy. The other boy had a car and they were driving around. We went to town one day, me and the wife, and driving down 7th Street, and we meets this Emil. And Bim should have been sitting in there too, but he wasn't. But he saw us ahead of time and he ducked down the seat. So we didn't see him. Well, I didn't do nothing about that, but I knew what happened. So a little while later, he went to my mother. I talked her out of $200. He wanted to buy this old car or somebody's, And she gave it to him, I didn't know a darn thing about it. But he buys this car and he comes out there one day with that damn old car with a license on it. I said, where'd you get that? Where'd you get the money to buy that? He said, oh, I got it. He didn't tell me where he got it, but I found out later. So I took the keys away from him and the license plate off it and I hid it because I was working on the road every day, you see. I had to go to work. And I went to work that day, I hid them stuff there, and I come home and the car was gone. I thought, how in the hell did he get them stuff? I don't know if he saw where I put it or what, but the car was gone. So I thought, that's enough of that. He told him we better go back to school. No, ain't going back to school, he said. I said, okay. Told Ivy one night, I said, tomorrow morning when you make lunch, make 2 buckets. 2 buckets, one for... She said, 2 buckets for who? I said, well, he's going to work. He don't want to go to school, so he's going to learn something. Mm-hmm. Just like that. So I woke him up. I said, get up, we're going to work. What do you mean, he said, we're going to work? I said, just what I said. Away we go with the 2 lunch pails. And fueled up the grader out there on the road, greased it up and fueled it up. Then we sat in the seat there. I said, you sit there and I'll sit here and I'll run this thing. And you keep your eyes open, I said. You watch what I'm doing. So that's the way we went for about 5 days. And I thought, well, maybe I can give him a try. So I said, well, I moved over there and I said, you can sit over here and I'll give it a try, And by God, he didn't do too bad. And then the boss, he was a bugger, that one. He wanted them. As soon as they were 16, he wanted them. I said, they can't go 16, they're too young. Nope, they'll learn. So he hired them. And 38 years later, he got pensioned off.
Wow.
So that was a good thing to do.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story. So, with you and Ivy, what was the best holiday that you ever took together? Either just the 2 of you or with the family?
No, we went out to British Columbia. I don't know who all would we with. Bertil Carlson was there. There's more than one of us.
Where did you go? What did you do?
Oh, we were all over up there where that glass house is, where they built that out of them embalming bottles.
Really?
Did you ever see it?
No.
Yeah. You go north of Creston, somewhere along the river there. You drive up to this glass house and you can go upstairs and all around. Made out of embalming bottles.
Amazing.
It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's one lady we got over there, I push her up to her table every day for when she eats.
Yeah.
She's from Kimberley. And I said, you know, I've never been to Kimberley. I said, I've been out in BC. And she said, well, it's a nice place. And I said, well, do you remember the house that was made out of embalming bottles? And she said, no. I said, well, it's north there, someplace of you know, where the Cranbrook and in there. Because we drove that road and come right up to it and went right through the whole house.
Mm-hmm.
Built out of embalming bottles. Had upstairs and everything.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Amazing.
But I'd have to find out more. I don't know just whereabouts it was now.
And that was one of the most enjoyable trips.
Oh, it was good.
That
We
you
even
took.
got stopped by the cops one day. Everybody. Trailers, campers. We didn't know what was going on. Finally, we found out later here there was somebody shooting somebody that night. And they figured they crawled into one of these trailers. They went through every one of them, even ours was just a little one. They went in through everything, looking for them guys. Never ever heard whether they found them or what. But that was kind of scary. Oh, that was terrible hot in that place. Well, I worked there before I went into the plant. You know, they had going to build two Quonsets, big Quonsets. And we had to lay the cement for that. That's where I worked first there.
Okay.
Pushing these two-wheeled buggies with cement in them. And then when we finished that, it was all done. They said, well, if you want to stick with us, you got to go inside. And I knew it was hot in there, but there's one Italian fella, he's I'm going to go in there and get on a machine. Well, he did. But he'd been dead for I don't know how long. I knew it'd get him in the end because that was hot. It's crazy. But I went in, they put me on the night shift. So I ate a donut and a cup of coffee and salt pills and water. But we went in and had a lunch break, and I saw this old fella sitting over in that chair there, and I estimated he was about 60 years old. Just guessed at it.
Yep.
I'm chewing on my donut, and I thought, well, if I'm going to look like that guy when I'm 60, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Next morning, I was gone.
That's
I walked
it.
to the office and said, send my check down to the hat.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a very big check either for 2 days.
And then you went on to something that you enjoyed a bit more.
Well, for a little while, yeah, that brickyard, but till the bricks fell on me then, that fixed that too.
You had an accident?
Well, they did.
Mm-hmm.
They pushed the bricks, you know. The boss come in one day and he said, we got to push these bricks a little faster. He said, everybody wants bricks. Down in Ontario, they shipped them everywhere. So that's the way that went. So they didn't dry them as long as they should have. And I got to be a setter about that time, you know, setting them up. And we had this one arch all done. And then we had to get down on our knees and level off for the next one. I leveled this guy, and that other guy over there, he was standing there, and I said, come on, Bob, let's get this done. Because I was sitting on my knees, you know, in the sand there. Oh, I got a roll of smoke first. And all I heard was whoop. That whole thing come over on top of me. I couldn't see air or nothing. Just dark as night.
How did you survive?
I survived. I don't know how the hell I did it, but I tried to push myself out of it, but there was no way. It was too much weight. And he was swearing, that boss, that's the one I didn't like. Cussing them guys, you know, calling them dirty names and everything. Not doing your job right. And then I thought to myself, you crazy bugger, you haven't even counted them men, you don't know how many you got. So I hollered, and he said, wait a minute. Counts the guys, he says, we're one short, dig them out.
And that was you?
Yeah, it was me, and he jumped all over top of me. They didn't know where the hell I was. You know, I was under there, but they didn't know where. And then he finally got my head out so I could stick it out. And he said, come on, get out of that hole there. And I said, Pete, I can't do it. I can't do nothing. I was just paralyzed. Shock. You know. So they finally got me out of there, took me to hospital, and Pat McCharles, that was the younger doctor, he had his dad was McCharles too. And I said to him, he was looking me over, and I said, I suppose this is the end of me. I thought it was the end, you know. How the hell are you going to live through that? But, no, he said, we'll fix you up. So I said, I hope so, and by God he did. 5 days later, I had a cast from here down to here. Just straight as a fiddle string, you know. For 3 months, 100 in the shade, hot, sweat, stink. So my dad comes in one day and visited me there a little bit, and he said, God, you stink. I said, I can't help it. I said, I can't bath, I can't put water on this. I'll fix it, he said. He went to the drugstore and bought this cologne. Come back, opened my shirt, and he poured the whole damn bottle down there. Oh, God. That was worse than the other stink. When that got together, it was dynamite. Oof.
So what were your injuries then?
Cracked vertebrae in my back.
You broke your back.
I wasn't broke right off, but it was a cracked vertebrae anyway. But
and
I never felt that yet. Doesn't bother me yet.
In those days, was there compensation? Did you keep getting paid?
Yeah, I got paid till I went back to work, but not the full amount.
Wow. Did anybody get fired for that?
Nope. But you should have seen them when they did all them big shots, you know, the head guys. Even that Pete, they were all up at the hospital when I was laying in there. Oh, I could have sued them, but I didn't know what suing was at that time. You could have, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. Because they were pushing it too much. Just to satisfy everybody else. That was a little rough. Yeah. To the last it was. Because when we moved in here, I had her here, looking after myself. And I had to, you know, lift her around, help her to the bathroom and that stuff. And it was a job.
What did she have an illness, or what happened to her?
Her knees were full of arthritis. Because she didn't have them done. We wanted her to have them done when she was a little younger, about 70. But she wouldn't go. So she did a lot of suffering because of that. But then she landed up in the hospital for a while. But I think the kids must have done that. Like I was working with her here, and I didn't know nothing about this. And Rod come in, and he said, he walked in there and talked to her. He said, we're going to take you up to the hospital. She said, no, you ain't. Yeah, he said, we are. I think because he thought it was getting the best of me. I don't know what he thought.
Well, she was having.
But I was still doing all right.
Yeah.
And anyway, then he walks out there. So what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to phone the ambulance. I said, holy jeez. So he phones the ambulance. 2 girls come in here. And he must have told them what was what. And they went in there and talked to her. She talked to them good, you know. She didn't seem to mind. Then they took her up to the hospital. And from there, things didn't get much better right away.
Sounded like she suffered a lot in her last
Oh, yeah, to the
year.
last she did, yeah.
So,
But I got her in down below here. It was nice. I didn't have to go nowhere, you know, to see her. Sometimes they stick them in another place way off, and you got to go over there.
Yeah.
She was in the
So I went down there every day, and I still remember that night though when she went. She never said a word all the while I was sitting there, and I was there earlier than you guys. But she'd look at me once in a while and then shut her eyes.
Mm-hmm. You're keeping her wedding ring. What would you like to see done with that?
I think we put it on her, didn't we?
Oh, actually, Brenda's got her wedding ring.
Has Brenda got it? 'Cause I got mine here, I know that, but I never seen hers.
Yeah.
And I got my dad's too.
Yeah, we put the family ring on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there's two parts to the wedding ring. Brenda's got one and I got one.
Yeah. Because if you put them on them, then it's gone.
Yeah.
Some people do.
Sure.
You know, it's just throwing them away.
So, what is life like now? You're in this home here, and it seems like they take care of your needs quite a bit. You've got a daughter that comes to check up on you, and are you happy right now?
I get a lot of help from the kids, yeah. Well, it ain't too bad now, but last winter was rough. You know, dirty winter was bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't go outside. Too cold. Oh, the last 6 months may be tough, but gotta get used to it, I guess.
Yep.
I used to cook too.
You did.
Yeah, well, I had to cook when she was here too.
Yep. Yep. So you go dancing once a week or so, or what are some of the things you enjoy doing in the home here?
Oh, in the home, I just sit here and do crosswords. Keep my mind in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's quite a few in here that are. In fact, they brought one in and sit with us the other day. I think she was there about 4 days. Her name was Jerry. And she was okay to talk to, and I didn't notice nothing with her mind. But I guess she had something, because the other one that sat, there's two sat with me. The other one said she kind of run out of there yesterday at dinner time. I went out ahead, and where she went, I don't know, she ended up in somebody else's room. And since then, she hasn't been back.
Gilbert, you seem very sharp. Your mind is all there. What do you attribute that to? You say you do crossword puzzles, and
yeah.
you seem very fortunate in ways that maybe other gentlemen aren't at this phase of your life.
Oh, yeah.
What have you done differently?
Well, when I was 50, I got to tell you a little story. I needed something out of the garage, and the garage was 50 feet from the house or more. So I goes out the door, into the garage, slammed the door, stepped there. What the hell did I come here for? Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to think what I was going to do. So I thought, oh, I'll go back to the house, go in the porch, the shed, or the porch I called it, and shut the door, and I stopped. It was right there what I went for. So I went back out the door, and I set it right to the garage till I got my fingers on it, and then I went back to the house. That's what made me think about crosswords.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing them ever since.
Yeah. What after you're gone? How would you like to be remembered? What are some of the things that you want people watching this video 10, 20, 30 years from now?
Yeah.
What should they know about you?
I don't know. Well, given this story, that's about all I can say. But I should write one of my own, but I don't think I could write it good enough.
Yep. Kids nowadays are different.
Yeah.
What would you tell them as far as life advice goes? What should they put emphasis in their lives? You know,
Well,
kids nowadays, they like their phones. They're not as good at
I
communicating.
tell them when they're looking for a job, any of them, I said, don't quit until you get one you like.
Yeah.
Because I never did.
Hmm.
And when you get something you like, then you're better off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say to your great great grandkids that are curious about you?
I don't know.
Send them a message. Look in the camera and tell them something. Tell them something to remember you by.
I don't know what to say there. Well, most of them seen me anyways, so they know what I look like.
The ones down the road, though, that haven't seen you.
And I usually, when they have a birthday, I used to give them $10, but I've been slipping on that. That one kid's 7 years old, man, now. And I thought he was 2. He didn't grow that much. You know, he's not that big.
What's your favorite thing to do, Dad?
What's that?
What's your favorite thing to do every week?
Every week.
Yeah.
Dance.
There you go.
Yeah.
Does that keep you active? And is that probably helps? It
Yeah.
probably helps in many ways.
If I can go down there and dance, I got this stepper here.
Okay.
I made 8,000 steps last night and over at the Toyota. And after I do that one day, if I dance for 4 hours or whatever, no, an hour, that's all they play. Or 2.
We went last
Well, it was
night.
2 last night. That was 8,000 something. I feel good today. My legs and everything don't bother me. Nothing bothers me then.
Who's your favorite singer?
Oh, I don't know if I got a favorite one. I love them all. I play them on that tape all the time.
Someday, perhaps at your funeral, they're going to be wondering what kind of music should we play.
Oh, they're going to play the accordion at my funeral.
Okay.
But I said an old-time waltz, but I think we wouldn't change that to a polka.
Oh, definitely. Yep.
Yeah. I got to tell Greg. Yeah, we figured that out. He's going to have accordion there.
When you say goodbye, do you want us to be sad, or what would you tell everybody?
No, they shouldn't be sad. Be happy. Well, I guess they wouldn't be happy, but, you know.
Well, that one school teacher would be.